We have an announcement to make about the start of a grand alliance for the local government election, and I would like to introduce you to Ms. Devika Thomas, the head of the Reunited Farmers, to open our announcement.
Good. This one, okay.
Yes, this is possible.
TV6 good?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Is it on? This on?
Good morning, members of the media. Other invited guests gathered here today at this press conference. Leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Mr. Philip Edward Alexander and his team. Allow me to introduce one of our new alliance partners for the upcoming local government election from August 14, 2023. The Progressive Empowerment Party, PEP, as they are known. The United Farmers Group was born approximately 4 years ago by myself and several other members. We started off as a lobby group on behalf of the food crop farmers and who have continuously plagued with issues such as perennial larceny, no access or limited access to the lands, flooding, and several other issues. We also continue to actively lobby for a percentage of the ex-colony workers who still await their visa packages. There are 3,398 ex-colony workers who are still awaiting for their residential leases, 3,000 still awaiting for their agricultural leases, another 1,000 waiting to be allocated, and 1,200 persons that were allocated, dislocated, and still to be allocated. The government is clearly in breach of the Dialsing judgment of 2007 in favor of the ex-colony workers with no consequences. 20 years, yes, you heard me, 20 years have passed and the ex-colony visa packages were not delivered. Why is this happening? Why should this be happening? This is the largest group of people that are being discriminated in this country. Why? Something must be done. I then made a clarion call to the public approximately 2 years ago, asking for support in our campaign against the government to settle the ex-colony workers and their visa packages. Without hesitation, the following persons came forward. Immediately and to respond were Philip Edward Alexander and his team, Justice Herbert Volney, now deceased, Mr. David Abdullah, Kyle Taklal Singh, Mr. Dinesh Rambali, Mr. Kurt Sinet, and Dr. Shane Anthony Mohammed, and several other persons and their group members. During our public consultation with the ex-colony workers and food crop farmers, the majority of whom continue to live under the poverty line, and these people are in the thousands. They were the base voters of the UNC. These are our members. These are the people supporting this alliance. They are the ones who are pushing us and who kept pushing us to form a political party and contest the elections so they can have a say, they can have a chance at a better life if we were in charge. After numerous discussions on the way forward as a political party, our members signed up, giving us authorization to register the Reunited Farmers Alliance as a political party. We were accepted by the EBC, and here we are today, ready to step into the battlefield. After the Prime Minister announced a date for the local election, I immediately sent out another request asking who were interested in joining the Reunited Farmers Alliance to contest the election, to step forward if they really want change. Here in my hands, I have nomination forms. Over 300 people who want change have come on board with us, and they have accepted to be part of this alliance with the PEP and us. They want a better Trinidad and Tobago, a place where everyone can feel safe again, where democracy is not threatened on a daily basis. Interested parties include approximately 22 NGOs, other community groups, village councils, religious organizations, and some political parties who we continue to have discussions with. Our screening continues on Saturday. Please note that some of these groups are not registered with the EBC, But however, we have made agreements with them that they will come under our symbol. Please visit our website for more information on our activity at reunitedfarmersalliance.com. Our office is located at 80 Ramsden Street, San Fernando. Shikwana, sorry. And here we are today having a press conference with the Progressive Empowerment Party. In ending, just to let you know that this alliance will be contesting all 141 electoral districts come 14th August. I thank you.
Let's get all the mics in a row. You all hear me without this, or do I have to use this? Use this. Right, so following on what Devika said, we've had similar pasts, we've had similar paths. We've both come out of a call for people to get representation against the power base that has operated for far too long in defiance of the needs of the people. We've seen all manner of political machinations take place, and at the end of the day, the public, the quality of lives of the voters, the workers, the small businessmen, the taxpayers are deteriorating. People are not happy, people are not safe, people are not hopeful. The call for a general election in a country supposed to set people on fire with hope. And all people are saying is they're depressed, they're frustrated. Listening to people call for new alliances sounds like the same dog and pony show we've seen before. This is different. This is real. This coming together is real politics, real workers' groups, groups that have built political parties in the past who know the strength of their vote and their support. We are also calling for all of the small business groups who feel left out, who have lost their businesses because of an inability to access foreign exchange or credit, or have been done wrong by customs taking 8 and 10 weeks to clear small businessmen shipment and other people container coming off the boat and leaving the port same day. This is an unfair use of power, and the power belongs to the people. And we have decided to begin this process. The Reunited Farmers Alliance are in conversation with others. We are in conversation with others. But we thought we would begin the process with clarity. That people would see two organizations that have stayed true to their purpose and we've now joined hands to walk forward together to give all the other disenchanted groups in society, all the unionized workers who feel 4% is not enough, come forward now. As Devika said, we have multiples of candidates and we're screening more. So we're screening right up to the end. If you're interested in representing either of our organizations, our head office is on 14 to 17 Park Street opposite Victoria Square. But we have team leaders all throughout the country, and you could call, what's our hotline? 486-2888. And you can get information about where you could be screened in your community, so you don't have to trek to town to get screened to be a part of this. The alliance that we start today is open to all others. We call for the Petrotrin workers. We call for all other workers, the TSTT workers and WASA workers, TNTech. We're calling for all of the people who have been done wrong, left behind, and left without a voice. This is your voice. Come and be a part of this. We're taking questions.
Mr. Alexander, so with this alliance on election day, when voters go to the polls on the ballot paper, what symbol would be displayed that will represent the alliance that you're announced today?
The best and fastest way to do this, and again, I just want to say this is why, and I want to include Devika in this answer, this is why there should be a fixed election date. The PNM is having a big public meeting in St. James, I think tonight, And they were able to plan all these things in advance because they knew when the election date was going to be and we didn't. And that's an unfair use of power. Every political organization in this country should have the same lead time to prepare so that we would have had public meetings planned, stuff like that. With that short lead time, we have not been able to go for an umbrella for all of us to have one symbol. So we will agree to a non-compete on certain ballot papers after nomination day. You'll see Farmers, Reunited Farmers Alliance. On some you will see Progressive Empowerment Party. Some you will see other political parties that are registered with the EBC who are coming on board, who we are in talks with. I think we have another press conference that is supposed to happen on Friday for those other parties to come and add their voices to this. You want to add anything to that?
Good, covered it.
And also, historically, the local government election turnout by voters tends to be low than that of a general election. How realistic are your expectations in terms of making a serious dent or serious mark in terms of the present political landscape when that election day, the polls are counted, the ballots are counted?
That point that you make is exactly how unhappy people are with the politics of the country. They don't vote. We have a low voter turnout in all our elections, but especially local government, because local government does not work. And it is only when other forces bring pressure to bear on what is the established order, they come out and start to show that actually there was resources, actually we could deliver. So us being able to fix things while not being in office, all of us, Devika and her team standing up for the farmers who were left languishing, holding VSEP packages that were worthless. They turned that around for them. The Progressive Empowerment Party has a "we will fix it" campaign because if the government and the opposition are prepared to stand up, we will. It's given people an excitement in politics again, and I think that this local government election, I think the turnout will be quite high, and I think it'll be high enough to snatch control of all the corporations from the established orders that have not fulfilled their responsibilities.
Let me add to my partner's response. Our membership is 72,000 people on our last check. They include farmers, those are the food crop farmers, also the Carney employees, and that would include their children and extended families. They are the ones, they are our base membership, they are the UNC's base people, and they are now our membership. They are the ones who have pushed us into forming an alliance and also registering at the EBC for a political party. And that's why we're here today, because of our membership of 72,000 people.
Okay. Ms. Alexander, just looking at the political landscape when it comes to local government election, when you see that the opposition UNC is calling for a coalition similar to what you're doing with other interest groups, do you think that there's a possibility of splitting the vote and allowing the incumbent to stay in some cases, given them that they charge the corporation that they may not have a portfolio?
Well, I think the PNM should also be very concerned about splitting the vote. The people are very unhappy with the PNM right now. And splitting the vote and taking votes is how politics is supposed to work. What is supposed to end up in government are the people who capture the most votes. The UNC traditionally has been a bit weak in the last couple elections, and that's up to them to sort out. But the voters want representation, and they shouldn't be stuck playing any, mini, miny, mo. They should be given a chance, because if they vote the way they've been voting before, they're still not going to get representation. It's best they take a chance right now. And that's what we're going to be selling. The idea that this is so different, this is so outside the pale of politics as usual, that there's every likelihood, especially as it is two organizations that are made up of people who have been helping and solving problems and delivering for decades, that people should come out in their numbers and take a chance for themselves, for betterment. What local government is supposed to do for this country is never done. We need it done. The people of this country need to see government that works. I just want to add one thing. If we, this alliance, win the local election, if after the votes are counted, that screen is that United Farmers Alliance and the Progressive Empowerment Party has won all 14 corporations, the next morning in Trinidad and Tobago, the country will wake up with a surge of hope, one. Two, the existing PNM and UNC members of parliament that have been drawing salaries to sit down home and pretend that they can't work will suddenly find their voices in their shoes and come outside and work because they would have realized that they are going to lose the general election too.
There's a follow-up question, and Mr. also answer this one. Because I'm watching the time frame that when election is, and now we're still having this conversation with these groups, what is the mandate at this moment? Because what we don't want is that, and you were part of the People's Partnership during the election situation, and you saw what could have transpired. Is there a mandate? Is there some level of people's declaration? I'm not sure what was signed at that point in time. Is there something similar? Because we don't want to see where what happened in the people, what happened in the People's Partnership, and what is the protection that you're going to put in place? Because we're getting from all over to form this alliance, and what is the mandate?
Well, I'm glad you raised that point, and I want to tell you, you're forgetting that there were other alliances that fell apart. The PNM was the first alliance in Trinidad and Tobago, and the Tobago alliance fell out with the PNM when A.N.R. Robinson left and formed ACDC, I believe it was called, and then DAC. Carl Hudson Phillips left, and he went with what became the 1% ONR, that became the NAR, that became the UNC. So the PNM too has fallen apart in the alliances in the past. What is to protect us? Our track records. These are groups of people that have been offered office. We've been offered positions. We've been offered positions in political parties. We've been met with and cajoled to come, bring yours, and we will make sure and take care of you. We want to take care of everybody else. We don't just want this to be, we get a job for ourselves and we in government and we get blue lights. We really want is a better country, all of us. All of us, it's sounding like a cliche because we're talking it for so long and we've never had it. But this group of people has been committed, and that's who we want to talk to. We want to talk to other people who, based on their track records, have been about serving the people. We want Robert Amar on board.
Mr. Alexander, you and I have spoken on quite a number of things. First to begin with, this local government, according to the leadership present, is about reform. But I think everybody has accepted that it's just a cliche. If we cannot start voting for mayors instead of being appointed by political aspiration, the changes will never come.
Never come.
So we are at a point where this alliance that you have brought together is to give hope, but we can't run away from reality. We made a point that the UNC has lost. The reality is, the last two elections, the PNM has lost. The UNC has gained. The UNC went from 180 to 223,000 votes. So you're coming up against really a part of national machinery that is going to be a hurdle that's very hard to climb. It's about the people's decision.
Correct.
And if your alliance cannot satisfy the people as to what you're going to do, using your "we will fix it" or "Philip will fix it" campaign, then in the short space of time, you'll have a Herculean task.
Absolutely.
Against the byproduct of money.
Absolutely.
And of course of influence. So I'm asking you, at the end of this, the people speak. PNM, the UNC return where they are. The PEP and the Reunited Alliance Farmers does not achieve the objective. What is the plan forward?
I'll speak for me and then I'll hand all of this to Devika. We've been through election cycles. Like others you just said who have been growing, we've been growing. I want to remind you that we beat the PNM in the Davis South by-election. We hope to beat them badly again in this election. But for us, and for you and for everybody else who have their ears to the ground, the real victory is at a national general election. That is where change could really take place. Even local government reform and how local government is delivered. We have a responsibility to prove ourselves so that we can contest and win a general election. I hope that this alliance will live longer than our victory at the local government polls. I'm hoping out of this and the other people who are coming on board, we could actually forge a real movement of people from all the different parts of Trinidad and Tobago, and not just special interests and financiers and people with agendas. So if we do not succeed, speaking for the Progressive Empowerment Party that has been here plodding along, fighting, representing, helping, win or lose, we will still be here.
The Reunited Farmers Alliance, we were formed about 4 years ago, and our main lobby action were for the food crop farmers and the ex-colony workers. Now, the ex-colony workers have been waiting for their visa packages for 20 years. Despite a High Court judgment in favor of the colony workers, there were no delivery from successive governments. To date, our success has been forcing the government, the Ministry of Agriculture that is, to deliver the visa packages. They have responded by giving a letter saying yes, they are going to deliver the packages. So that's our track record to date. After 20 years of successive governments, no one delivered, and the Reunited Farmers Alliance, we have forced the government to acknowledge that they are going to deliver these visa packages that are outstanding for 20 years.
So I have a follow-up for your response. You talked about this being a High Court judgment.
Yes, it is.
You've just come out from an issue with the British law lords and also had a judgment that saw the government take a course of action. What is preventing you from getting the law lords of Trinidad to enforce this judgment?
At this time, our team of lawyers are being a bit patient with the ministry.
20 years.
Well, they have been in communication with us. They are speaking to the other necessary stakeholders. We're not going to wait.
I don't want to dispute you. We're talking 20 years.
Yeah, sure.
Talking about this being a pivotal position
Right.
where you want to prove yourself.
Right.
So
So,
proving yourself cannot be by giving them time. They're working 20 years.
so we are in active communication with the ministry.
So when do you expect to take an action?
We have given a deadline to them. We are waiting that time. We have been in
What
communication.
is that deadline?
Sorry, at the end of this month.
End of this
Yes,
month.
yes.
So before the local government election, which is in August,
Yeah.
we should see some action. from you.
Definitely, definitely. Our team of attorneys are on board with us, and they are actively engaging with the ministry and ourselves.
Because see me on a strong point. I mean, a judge make a decision. The
Yes,
government
that
has
was
to-
that was the,
Governments past and present have failed.
yes, successive governments have failed to deliver these visa packages, and that was the Dialsing judgment of 2007. So that judgment was passed in 2007.
So it would mean to say that if you take that action, you have a real good chance of the people that you put up to run in those constituencies, to win those constituencies, because they will see you mean business.
Right. Well, actually, our membership are the ones who have us here today. All right. So our membership are the ones who pushed us into forming a political party and being here today. And then we decided, okay, we want to have an alliance. Philip has been out there with us, lobbying with us after he heard me call for assistance. So yes, this is our end game at this point in time, and we are moving forward together with the alliances and other groups.
I have one final question for both of you. This country has been trying to change its course for 60 years. Constitutional reform continues to be bandied around. But constitutional reform based on the party system and the Constitution, which requires a 2/3 majority to change anything in the Constitution that will affect humans like us, indicates that there is a need for another alternative. In many of the developed world, they are using referendum. Do you believe that referendum, which is driven by population, can have an impact on causing the Constitution to get changed to meet the demands of the people?
Referendum is part of a package of things that should have been done 20 years ago. It is key, it is integral. A lot of people don't understand the way you understand. Referendum is a continuous ability of the public to vote and instruct the parliament what the people want. And it is absolutely critical to a proper run country. Trinidad and Tobago, they've been looking for, should we get proportional representation, should we get different things like a committee parliament. Having things like referendum and recall puts the power back in the hands of the voters, and it's continuous so that you don't have to wait 5 years to get results. So I absolutely agree with your call and the work that you've been doing for referendum as law. We want referendum, we want campaign finance reform, we want recall, we want fixed election dates. Those things are critical to the democracy, and we are going to begin judicial review proceedings. We are talking with lawyers now. The local government election come and jump in the fray, so we have to pause that. But regardless of the outcome, if we have political power, we will fix it. And if we don't, we are going to take it as far as the Privy Council, because the Privy Council seems willing to engage in upholding this democracy. So I'll tell you, in the Dutch farmers, and to all the farmers who are not yet on board with the United Farmers, I want to let you know, the farmers in the Netherlands forming the government now, the farmers in the Netherlands, the big winners in their election, understand how power works. Power goes to the people who want it. That's where power resides. You have to know that your one vote is one vote to power. Use it wisely.
Follow up on some points you made just on this, Alexander. Without proportional representation, the construct of municipalities, for example, you have to new boroughs, Passaparia and Diplomatic, and the existing boroughs. Without the proportional representation system, will that pose more of a challenge for parties other than the main parties to be able to get any major victory at the polls in any of the elections, local government or general election?
Those things come down to the voter at the end of the day. I mean, at the end of the day, having 14 corporations and 41 constituencies and 5 regional health authorities and 10 police divisions, the country set up to fail. We need to streamline that so that communication between organizations and departments could result in, when the government says that these things are happening based on budgets, the budget is the roadmap for the next 12 months, how are we going to run the country? When that budget is ready, it should find its way quickly to the voters so that they know what they're getting for their vote. We don't get that in Trinidad. Our budget is a mishmash. Again, I need to mention Robert Amar. Robert Amar is the only person I know who goes for the Auditor General report after and come and follow up the government and ask them, what about this and what about that? And we need to get better at how we communicate with the voters. The voters have the power, and they need now to wake up and realize, as consumers, as workers, as voters, that's the power of the country. And we need the voters to stop thinking of how things were in the past and how it was for your granny and your grandpa. Think about yourself. Think about your children. Think about when you are going to get old in a country where public health don't work, where people are messaging me every day. People who are dying from cancer, going to the cancer center, the oncology center, and they have none of the chemicals to treat with them. People going to get their cataracts fixed, and when they dilate their eyes to get them ready for surgery, they find out the lens is missing. Can't continue that in a country that spends $5 billion on public health. We are coming together, this organization, this grouping of people and the other people who are going to join us, we are coming together to end the control, the political control by special interests. We want to give representation to all the people. We want to be able to judge the performance of the country, the success of the country, by how those at the bottom are doing.
As you say, special interests, Mr. Alexander, in terms of financing of campaign, this alliance, what guarantees will you give to voters that there will not be that same issue that we talked about? Because that is often seen as the main reason why you have some of these other issues when parties go into government. People have that concern. Speaking for the Progressive Empowerment Party, we've been full, clear and transparent from the start. We plan to continue. You don't climb a cliff, you don't climb a mountain cliff face first and then surrender all of your ethics
and all of the things that your integrity, the things that give you who you are when you reach the top. I don't understand why people would do that. We're in this for one thing, and I know what I am in it for, and I know what people who come on board are in it for, and it's for a better life for the people, the farmers, the Reunited Farmers Alliance. Their whole mission was to change the world for the farmers who were abandoned when Caroni was closed. They closed Caroni without a clue as to what these tens of thousands of people were going to do with their lives and their families, made empty promises and left them languishing. People have killed themselves in this country, waiting on their visa packages, waiting on their land, waiting on the options promised. Petrotrin workers now holding the same empty bag. We want all of those workers to come forward. The fire officers who get blamed for the poor performance of the fire service when the fire chief doesn't know what he's doing. We're being told that somebody who was an IT professional is now going to be made the transport commissioner. What does he know about transport? What plans does he have? How can he deal with it? These things cannot continue to just happen in an ad hoc fashion. We want a government that is willing to continuously converse with the people, represent the people. In this opportunity here, it's a wonderful opportunity for Trinidad, because if they give us the local government mandate, they will see what we could do, what should have always been done at local government, so they could give us a mandate at the national level.
Yes, after that, I have a lot of questions. With not having power, central government at the end of the day is controlled by the People's National Assembly. And you have heard before complaints of lack of funding, starvation of funding to get stuff done. We saw some great plans yesterday. How are you going to get around that hurdle, especially working in an old local government system?
Archaic is the word he was looking for. He's looking for archaic. I know that. I want to give you an example. One of our deputy political leaders, her name is Marissa Prasad, she responded to the farmers down in Orapuch, where the Godino River was continuously flooding and damaging their crops, and some of them was even planting crops because they didn't know what to do. We went down there, we met with them, we went again, we brought contractors and engineers, they came up with plans how to dredge the river. We were mobilizing with contractors to get equipment down there to start. They actually built a berm to protect one farmer's land who was drowning on his land. He's now safe and he could start back planting. And lo and behold, the government and the opposition found themselves down Chester Street, found themselves down there on the bank of the river, talking the same things that we're talking. So I'm saying to you that you're absolutely correct, that they could starve us for funds, but we are creative. It's 1.4 million people in Trinidad and Tobago. We could unite and stand together and get things done. Don, you want to say something?
And this is the most...
Hold on.
Another project, yeah.
No, this is the same as the black box.
As a former ex-Caroni worker and also a son of a Caroni worker, this is the most opportune time for change to take place. In my community, we had an incident where our heritage was being lost using St. Madeleine Pond. And Mr. Alexander would have been with me on that morning when we started. Everybody said it was impossible. And that was my asset test, that we can be the change that we want to see. And we had one back. We reached out to the Princestown Regional Corporation. They refused. I reached out to the opposition. I also reached out to the government. Everyone refused. This one little pundit from nowhere, nobody came and said, we are going to do it. But we did it with prayer. Everything that we do it with prayer. And I believe the goodness, the prayer, that is what is going to make the change and the difference that we need to see. But if we don't do it now, our children and our generations are going to be lost. The evil, the wickedness, the badness is going to continue. So it has to be now, and it must be done with urgency. We talk about the low voter turnout. People are disenchanted. We need to tell our children and the young people there is hope. But we are the hope. We now need to take our parents and take them out of the thinking that they had previously and show them that there is a way forward. We can do it, and nobody can do it.
Let me just put this into the mix. We can't run away from the reality, right? This country has been polarized in excess of 40 years. Ethnicity continues to be a role. A lot of people in power make race what it's not supposed to be. Because the problem is not race, the problem is ethnic. We see ourselves as Indian and Africans in the main two, and we vote along those lines. In view of what Mr. Alexander had suggested, if you're trying to prove a point against that mammoth Everest mountain you have to climb, why don't you select 2 corporations and fight those 2 corporations as intent to the bigger picture, which is governance? Because once you can get in and you could make, because those corporations with the right people, no doubt, could operate 100% better than they were. But to take on the Herculean task to go after the 430, knowing fully well that the Laboratory Corporation, you're not doing it. Knowing fully well that the Superior Corporation, you're not doing it. You have to face reality. There are opportunities. But if you set your sight where you cannot see, then your achievement will be disappointing. I think the people are willing to support institutions that are real, not institutions that are following precedent of history. Precedent of history is fight everything because we want to show that we could do it too. But the people of the country are not looking for that. People of the country are looking for successful thinking people who are willing to make an intervention to do something that will have a positive result, that will have positive change, to give them the hope that they need for the future. So I just want to find out why 139 when certain want to do for sure. You ain't got a chance, you have a snowball chance in hell. Whether it's Port of Spain Corporation or Lavender, you know you're going up there just for window dressing. I mean, that doesn't make sense as far as I see as an external person to me. But I don't know all the details. I don't know how strong he's in Port of Spain. I don't know how strong he's in Lavender. But if you don't have the numbers, but there's not somebody to go and fight for that, it's like telling yourself, I'm failing before I start. But the people of this country, 40 years of consistent badgering, Indo-Trinidadian, Afro-Trinidadian. I'm not even thinking about ourselves as Trinidadians, as Africans and Indians. And we're born in a country that is called Trinidad and Tobago. So we should be talking to ourselves as Trinidadians. But we always refer to ourselves as Eastern. And if you can't change that, then the politics can't change.
Everything you said is a fact, and I want to say in answer to that, those of us who believe for a better tomorrow, we have to keep believing for a better tomorrow. I want to use the example of that pond that Pundit Samlal cleaned. Nobody was willing to step up from the state or the government to go and clear that pond. And this thing was huge and covered. And when I went there and I saw the size of the job and the work, when they pulled a whole morning and they pulled, and just a little thing was clean, and I thought, nah boy, we bite off more than we could chew here. And they didn't stop. They didn't stop. When you go down there now, it's like this big fresh lake, and it's just people who are unwilling to give up. I want to tell you another example. I watched CNN the night before when this man was a prominent commentator on politics in America, and he said, no matter what, a black man will never be president of the United States. The rest is history. We have to commit to this course of action. We don't know who has the winning vote in a corporation that we may not have taken. We have to give everybody a voice. That's the mandate. That's the mission. Everywhere, the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. The people have beaten. You say we can't win Laventille, and that might be so. But the people of Beaton that have been living in sewage, where the sewer system have not worked, they come, they fix it, and they go on and back up again. The people of Beetham and Morva and Laverton and Sealots who have been abandoned. They've never had hope outside of race politics. Now they have hope where representation politics is on the cards. Let's see what they do with that.
So I would refer back to the St. Madeleine Pond project, which took us about a month of cleaning, and we had tried to engage the corporations and things like that to come. It was done. It was a Herculean task, and if you look at the area now,
One last one.
If you look at the area now, you'd see a lot of people who never came to the pond. Now they're picnicking on the pond, at the pond side, and there are many activities taking place there. So the constituents of that area are now enjoying the hard work that we put into making it into a beautiful place where they can relax and, you know, have fun, come out with their families and things like that. To answer your question about contesting or the 14 corporations, our membership is 72,000 strong from all over this country. They're farmers, ex-carny workers and their family, other members, and together with the PEP and the other political parties, NGOs, cultural groups, and so forth. This is the reason why we made a decision to contest all 14 corporations. We are strong and we are there to fight for what we know is our right. We want a society where we could come out and be comfortable. We want to have a say. The people on the ground need to have a say. We don't have a say at this point in time. Everything that affects us, we don't have a say, and we need to have a say.
Amen. We really want to take one more question to allow TV6 and CNC3 and those who have midday news to get the story back. So, yeah, Mr. Brown.
Part one, we heard of the number of members for the United Farmers Alliance, but then the number of registered members of the PEP. How many present?
The last time we had a count was 35,000.
One. Two, presently how many candidates have been selected for the local government election?
We screened 150, give or take. We have other information from the satellite screening stations to come in. So we think that between now and the next 5 days, we should give ourselves as our time for totals, to sit down with the United Farmers and allocate who's going where, who's the best candidate for where. We will then be in a position to come back to you in one of these press conferences before nomination day to say, this is who and this is where.
And finally, given the declaration made here by yourself and the United Farmers Alliance, does this mean there will be no possibility of this alliance and any other parties that join the alliance you form of joining with the opposition, main opposition party for the local government election?
At this point, there doesn't seem to be a rationale to do it. That's the problem. Nothing has changed in the UNC. We're getting the same old tired rhetoric, the same old beat the drum, dog whistling from both sides. It's tired, is what has Pandit Samuel said, that they are disenchanted with the politics. We want to bring fire back. We want to bring hope back. We want little children to go out with their parents and campaign and stuff mailboxes with flyers and have barbecues and say, look, there is a chance at a better country for all of us. I understand what Robert Amar says. He's correct. That we've had, since day one, we've had a country that's divided. They divided us to rule us. Let's move on from that. Let's all now start to seek our own interests. Politics is the art of the possible. This here has a chance to give everybody what they always needed, real representation. Thank you all very, very much.